Salar Puriya Sattva. Trust, it's what we build. Presents the Realty Debate powered by Reliance Home Finance with Manisha Natarajan.
Do branded homes sell in India? From Trump Towers to Disney homes, developers in India have been experimenting with branded residences for some time now. I'm actually very curious today on the Realty Debate to understand whether in a market which has become extremely price conscious, are these selling at all? Or are the rich who can afford branded homes untouched by any slump? Joining me today are Niranjan Hiranandani, CMD Hiranandani Group and President Narredco West. Also with me here in the Delhi studio, Ashwinda Raj Singh, CEO Residential Services, and Sameer Jasuja, CEO Prop Equity. From the Chennai studio, we have Arun Kumar, founder and managing director of Casagrand, a very well-established real estate company of the South. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here on the show. Very quick perspective for our viewers. Now, if I look at branded homes, they've been able to build exclusivity and sell at 25 to 30% over the average price of a similar product in a given location. Who is the target? Absolutely the super rich. What are the attractions for the buyers? Designer labels and excellent interiors, which they say set them apart from other projects in the same price bracket. So there are theme-based exteriors, international level sports amenities, resort-like facilities, and evolved concierge services, high-grade electronic surveillance, parking, valet, you name it, and it's there. Knight Frank studies also said that there's a high project or a product recall of these premium branded apartments. Instant appeal, they say, to the brand conscious globe-trotting buyer. Okay, Mr. Hiranandani, so here's my question to you. Indian developers have been building luxury and super luxury for some time now, but this whole thing about joining up with, let's say, a 4-5-star hotel or even a Trump or a Disney is something which has only happened in the last 3 years. Is there any data to say whether these are selling, they have takers?
Manisha, I must tell you that time has come where all these branded things are definitely going to make a difference. If a person can buy a Kanali suit, get into a private jet, go onto a helicopter and a yacht, why not also have designer homes? So I don't see any reason why designer homes are not going to work. However, we must understand one thing, that the market for designer homes is very, 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 very small. So it's not that the designer homes are not going to work. They will work, and definitely there's a niche market. The rich and affluent are there who want these type of goods, and I do see a lot of people willing to spend a large amount of money to get the best, to get the kind of goods, to have the ego satisfaction of looking at a designer label. And just like you would have a Bentley car or a Rolls-Royce Phantom or any such similar car or suits, I think there is a scope and space for designer homes, but the number of flats as compared to the total demand in India is minuscule.
Okay. So, Mr. Arun Kumar, I'm going to come to you. The ultra-rich in India, and if I have the numbers in front of me, are almost about 1,50,000 in FY16, which has been a growth of 7% over the last 1 year or so. So, from 2015 to 2016, the numbers grown from 1,37,000 to almost 1,46,600. My question to you is that a lot of ultra-rich, the way we see in India, they still like their privacy, they like their big bungalows. So apartments, even whether they're designer and a Four Seasons full-service residences, is this catching on, or is this catching on in some geographies but not the others?
I mean, you're right. Actually, it is for sure catching on. I mean, there are people who would want to, opt for such kind of a preferred branded luxury homes, whether it be lifestyle services or hospitality whatsoever. But it's bound to be far and few, and that too in markets like Mumbai and Delhi. For sure, it is not there in the south for sure. Because what happens is a number. Let me crunch this number for you so that it put things in perspective. Let's say a home gets about 25 to 30,000, 30% more expensive. And where does the money go in? What happens is, for the service which is going to be rented, absorbs about a 15 to 16% of this cost. And the brand which offers this it takes away about a 5% from the kitty, and the balance additional increment of 5% is what comes to the builder, if at all it does come, even in a more established market. I have understood these numbers very well. So what happens is the client does get value broadly for about 15 to 20% of that, and balance goes towards as a premium.
Okay.
When, as Mr. Hiranand rightly mentioned, that the market is moving towards brands across the spectrum, whether it be from your designer clothes to, let's say, your cars. There is bound to be a niche market which would opt for this, and I would also think this would trickle down to the other markets like Bangalore, Hyderabad and even Chennai at a point in time. For now it is not there for taking, but in the Mumbai or Delhi for sure there are ultra rich audience who would opt for this, and this would be the cutting edge. What are we talking about? Let's say a very prime property in Mumbai being sold and another one which is a branded. There is a possibility of a few percent people getting ticked off, and rather getting choosing this kind of a product and moving into this. So there is always a possibility, and this is bound to be staying and growing for sure.
Okay. All right, Samir, come in here. You've been a big proponent of super luxury, saying that it is an end user market. In fact, I read this entire report where you said luxury, in fact, could be an investor driven market, but super luxury that we are talking about is really an end user market and therefore recession proof. Every time that we've spoken about that segment, you've really taken examples of super luxury built by Indian developers without really bringing in any branded players. So whether it's these Adarsh villas that we talk about in Sarjapur, which have gone up 40% in over 3 years, or a DLF Camellias, which you just mentioned a while ago, which have also appreciated in this down market. Where is then the value in buying a branded home? Because there are super luxury homes by Indian developers which also seem to be doing well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, what I would like to point out is that the local developers also have created a brand amongst themselves. For example, when you talk about Camellias or others, they have projects that have been ready previously where they've demonstrated a lot of success and people are extremely happy with them, and that is what has become, the previous project has become a bigger brand than a foreign brand that is coming, because you really don't know how that project will get executed. For example, if you give a great brand, and let's take it as Trump, and give it to a new developer, because a reputed developer may not be willing to pay that kind of fees because he's being able to sell himself. The brand is getting married off to a new developer where the risk is getting established, where the project may never come and see the light of the day, or may never see the light of the quality that that brand is associated with. So the point I'm trying to make is that you said local developers are being able to sell as well as brands are, and that's because only in cases where they've been able to demonstrate previous projects, they've been able to cash in on the brand in the next project of theirs.
Okay.
And that's what Adarsh and DLF have done, thanks to Magnolias and thanks to the previous project in Whitefield there.
All right.
Coming to these brands, they definitely, you see, the super luxury segment wants exclusivity, and demand and supply play a very important factor in the super luxury segment. So as Mr. Hiranandani pointed out, and every other panelist has pointed out, the demand for super luxury is extremely minuscule. It's typically about 0.01% of the market. But that 0.01% of the market is looking for something that is a private club that nobody else can have, or very few people can have, and then he is willing to pay any price for it.
Then price tag is really not important. So Ashwinder, this is something which Samir has raised, and when I was reading the reports both of Knight Frank and JLL, when they talked about the branded residences, they said the promise of having a quality product and also the promise of it getting delivered in time also come with these residences. Is that so? Is that true?
Absolutely, it is true, because it is only the established players who are going to get in touch with these or get into a partnership with these brands. So these are the basic steps.
Where does it happen? I mean, we know what happened between Nitish Estates and Four Seasons, and now you have an embassy takeover.
Manisha, there are learnings.
So
there are learnings. There are learnings.
So it's not carte blanche. I mean, in India, I think the biggest thing is that it's still a discovery process on how branded will work.
There are learnings. Let me throw some data so that we figure out what is the size of this market. So, numbers don't lie. The Western world, the super luxury market is around 8% in the US. In India, currently it is hovering between 1.5 to 2%. You shared certain HNI numbers. By 2020, there are going to be 3.5 lakhs from 1.5 lakhs super HNIs in India. The Indian market by 2020 is going to be $180 billion, which means even if we are at 3 to 4%, we are talking about a minimum of $7 to $8 billion of market which is there for the taking. I am not saying 7 to 8. Even if we keep it at 2%, it is 3 to 4 billion. So there are people who have discerning taste. We have a growing SME population which is getting affluent. We are now the startup capital of the world in many ways. There are going to be a lot of success stories, not just in one industry but across. I think there is a product, if it is marketed well, developed well, the research is done and we know what is the supply required. If these nuts are kind of connected together, this market should be exploited and will do well, provided the research is there. If you don't do research and then you create something which is not for the taking, then we should not blame the market. We should also blame the homework that we are doing.
Okay, Mr. Hiranandani, now when you're talking about ultra luxury is one in specification, amenities, the quality of the product, but it's also location, and that makes ultra luxury make or break products. So I mean, look around in the different cities of India. Where do you think there is appetite and the right location to launch these branded ultra luxury products?
I think every city has a chance, but obviously the metros will take the cake. So if you can start with Delhi, Mumbai, I think that would be a good place to start. But you'll be surprised. There are niche markets everywhere in the country. So you can get in Hyderabad, you can get in Bangalore, you can get in Chennai, you could get in Kolkata. But again, as I said before, you have to choose the location. You have to be very, very careful that the numbers actually match up with what the market presently can demand. And also the fact that the differentiator has to be something which is perceived by the market.
How are these doing right now? I mean, if I look at the list of tie-ups, we have Lodha Group's New Cuff Parade, Mumbai. Let's just bring that list up. They've tied up with big wigs like Philip Stark and Kelly Hoppen. It'll have the country's largest clubhouse, etc. 11 swimming pools. Also, they're constructing, Lodhas are constructing the Trump Towers in Worli. You have Panchsheel also constructing a Trump Tower in Pune. Then you have some of the big developers looking at a tie-up with Disney. So you have a Suntech in Mumbai which is tied up with Disney. You also have Prestige which is tied up with Disney. Then you have the 5-star hotel tie-ups. So Oberoi Realty has tied up with 360 West in collaboration, or launching 360 West in collaboration with Ritz-Carlton. Ashwinder, my question is that as of now, there is no product that we have seen. These are just tie-ups which have happened. So we will only be able to judge the quality once it's in the market, isn't it?
So, Manisha, the perception is because, as one of our panelists just said, you know, these people are traveled, they have seen many of these developments across the world, and that's how these brands were chosen by these developers to come. Why did a Disney come, or why did a Trump Tower come? Because, you know, they would have seen that this is the demand that is kind of,
okay,
you know, people
so I think
I
need to frame the question differently, and I'm going to go to Arun for that. Arun, as a developer, I'm sure you've explored that. What is it that the brand, when you do this tie-up, what kind of control over quality and the end product does the brand have? So what kind of control will like a Disney have or a Trump have on what is being developed in India? How are these etched out,
We've had
agreements?
discussions though, sure. Yeah. In fact, we've had discussions with Disney earlier on this, etc. See, they have pretty stringent quality parameters in the ultimate end delivery of the product and the service going forward, assuming the brand is also involved in the service offering. And to that great extent, actually, the brand does give a brand promise or a brand commit in terms of their finish or their kind of a lifestyle home which they are offering. So, to that extent, it's pretty well done. See, and I also want to tell you, Manisha, actually, how it works is we have show flats, we have show housing, etc. In that also, let's say it's a lifestyle product, let's say an Armani, you know, styled home. What happens is there is a show house, and what you are assured of is actually what you see. So it's not so much of a hope buying anymore, because there is a product in front of you which you see, which is what you get as a product, at least within the community, within inside the house or the interiors of it. As we go to the service offerings, etc., these brands have a big stake. Actually, ultimately, if they are sticking their neck out to ultimately vouch or stand by the promoter who's doing a particular development in a city where they've tied up with, they have a serious, work to do in terms of ensuring the quality adherence and the controls are in place, and I'm sure that is not something we should be worried about. Ultimately, a project is taking off, etc., like what happened in some cases, is something which could be, obviously a situation at hand. But ultimately, the project goes through, or the builder has a credential to go ahead and finish it towards his logical end of and handing over, etc., and there's no per se issue. I think these brands would make that bit of a difference. See, what are we talking about here? Let me clarify this. It's not about, this brand suddenly making a difference of selling the products, but ultimately you're developing a huge community of, let's say, about 12 towers, and in that one tower becomes an Armani styled home or a Trump tower or whatsoever, actually.
Right.
That would make a difference to sell that tower at a slightly premium price, and that attracts a particular audience. That's all we are talking about here. Ultimately, the 11 towers still have to sell by the merits of the builder, his credence in the market, and the kind of finish and the history. So that's exactly how this is going to pan out. But assuming this pans out, I think it's a logical market to address, and I think every builder and every city will have a small share of this kind of a branded homes, no doubts at all.